Hello, everybody. Josh Rubenstein here for another KP Candid Conversations. And today we are talking about mental health for the holidays. It's a very stressful time for many. It can be very difficult. And we want some ideas and some ways in which we can cope and identify when things are not quite right. And joining me today is Dr. Britany Alexander from our Riverside service area, a psychiatrist out there. And you have been such a help to us when we talk about mental health in general. And we're talking about mental health for the holidays. Before I do that, though, I want to know a little bit about your journey. What drove you to this profession?
Oh my gosh, Josh, it's the cutest story. I remember I found my, in senior year in high school when you make your little marriage book and you marry a fake person and you have a fake baby and you plan your life. I actually planned to be a psychiatrist when I was 17 and I had it all mapped out and I was going to do it. And it's really weird. I kind of lost my way for a while. I was going to do family for a while. And then I found my way back into it in med school, and I really did it. So I was always that funny kid who was making potions and medicines for my siblings in the backyard, and trying to be a healing force even when I was little. So it feels natural.
Well, and you have that calming presence always. Every time I've talked to you, it's just this just lovely calming presence. I assume your family incredibly proud that you decided to go this direction.
I think so. Now, mental health stigma, they were very proud, but they also were like, but wait, I thought you were going to be a real doctor. And so I've had a grand old time over the last, I guess, nine years or so. It's been longer than that. Showing them that mental health professionals, psychiatrists, it is real medicine, and the mind and the body are connected. And I think I've made great headway. And that's one of my missions in my practice, is to make people feel comfortable coming to see the shrink.
And I think that if there's one thing that we have learned over the past 2 years, right, since this pandemic, 3 years now almost, it is that mental health is such an important part of your whole body health, right?
The two cannot be separated. And the more we learn about the brain-gut axis, the connection between the two, everything that happens in one part of the body is mimicked in the other. And we would be wise to strengthen our knowledge of that connection because it can help us reach our desired state of health a little faster, actually.
Tell me about the holidays. And I was just giving you kind of the general, past 3 years have been tough on us, but the holidays in particular bring on all kinds of stress, mental health stress, right?
Beyond. NAMI suggests that up to 64% of people feel that the holidays make their mental health worse, which is terrible. And, the holidays are often, in my practice, approached with a sense of trepidation and anxiety because it's a reminder of sometimes a loss or a divorce or even just a financial stressor. And not everyone has a perspective that the holidays are a completely wonderful, joyous time, although some people do.
Well, and you sounded almost, when you said that, it's sad, because it should be a really wonderful time where you are celebrating everything and the blessings in your life, right?
Yeah, and I think I could go on for hours about this. There are many factors of why we lose our way, right? There's a huge commercial push. Everything is very in your face. So Christmas, if that's a holiday that one celebrates, it's Christmas 24/7 for, the night from Thanksgiving until the day after Christmas. And it can just be a bombarding, overwhelming barrage of media and pressure. And if one is not mindful, it doesn't always feel good to everyone.
How does it manifest itself? How do we know someone is struggling?
Yeah, there are many. Humans are what I call, what we call heterogeneous, meaning not all the same. So everyone is going to have a different manifestation. And like I said, some people really do find this to be a very jolly festive time. But for others, there can be manifestations of all the classic symptoms of depression and anxiety. Sleep is one of the first things to go when you're having a depression or anxiety problem. Appetite, energy, mental focus. Another big sign that I see when someone is sort of having a mental health problem is irritability. Can't tolerate the amount of stress or the amount of patience that one would have needed to have in a certain situation. Um, and it's not all just during the holidays, but that certainly can be a time when these flare up. One other point I'd like to make is that with the daylight savings arrangement, our days are shorter. We're getting a lot less sunlight, and many people don't react as well to that with their mental health as well.
What can we do? What kind of things can we do to help someone who we see struggling?
Yeah. Well, it depends on your relationship with the person. So we can kind of categorize it, you know, family versus, a little bit more peripheral. If it's someone you know and you sort of know their patterns, watch them carefully. If they're a person who's at risk for loneliness or isolation, such as an older person or a person who lives in a different area than the rest of the family, or someone who's been ill and can't leave the house as much, really make more of a push and more of an effort to reach out to them and to check on them more often. If you can't do it in person, on the phone, on the text, on the video chat, um, and just remember that, to remind that person that even though we may not be physically together, you're surrounded by my love. If it's a friend and you're not quite as close, it's all right though to say, hey, buddy or girlfriend, I've noticed that you haven't been yourself lately. You don't seem as happy. You don't seem to be enjoying things. I'm here to talk. I'm going to go get some coffee. I'm a listening ear. I may not have all the answers, but I really care a lot about what happens to you. And sometimes just getting people talking helps them to feel safe to open up and to tap into their own resources of resiliency and asking for help.
That's interesting. You should say that because sometimes we want to try and fix things, and we think our version of helping is coming up with, well, it's this, and this, and trying to answer. But the best thing we can do really is just be an ear, right, and be a listener.
Absolutely. And I think it's important. It's actually an important boundary to have an idea of what we can and can't modify, and to not try to fix everything for everyone. That's one of the reasons during the holidays we get so burned out, because we're trying to do everything and say yes to everything and yes to everybody. And a lot of the times what people just really need is a hug. And now that, our COVID numbers are down a bit, like, we can hug, or to actually listen to what that person is saying that they're needing rather than what we think they need. It's very important to listen.
Is there any point where we say, there's certainly a spectrum of feelings when you're dealing with mental health issues, to being frustrated or just need some kind of coaching to really needing some help. When or how do we know that we've crossed over and we need the help of someone like yourself, someone who's a physician?
That's a great question. It in general, and this is highly variable, but when a person starts to have depression or anxiety symptoms that are pretty pervasive, they're happening most days, most of the day, more than for about 2 weeks, we start to say maybe there needs to be some intervention. And what are those things? So like I said, sleep is often quite disturbed when there's a mental health condition. One's energy level is another big litmus test. One's ability to concentrate. We've had a big push. ADHD. Is it ADHD? To the point where now we have a stimulant shortage because through COVID, so many people have been diagnosed with ADHD. But poor concentration and not remembering things can also be a hallmark classic symptom of depression and anxiety and sleep deprivation. And they're all tied together. Appetite changes, and two other big ones. Not enjoying things that are usually fun. If you usually put that football game on and you just don't care, or if you're just so irritable and that's not your normal way of being, those are signs to look at. And if they go on 2 or 3 weeks, it's time to be calling somebody, and also to be sort of pausing and looking at your lifestyle and your stressors, and paying a little bit more attention. And obviously, and I have to say this, if one is starting to drink excessively or misuse substances or have suicidal thinking in any form, those are reasons to go seek professional assistance.
Yeah. And on the lower end of it, what kind of things can we do for ourselves to that where we may not need that professional help yet, but there's stuff we can do to sort of mitigate some of that mental health stress?
Oh, absolutely. The list, thank goodness, is long. One of the things that we all hopefully are working on in our personal lives, and also what I teach in my practice, is boundaries. Can't say yes to everything, or can't stay at every event, open it and shut the event. Meter your time, meter your energy, say no when you need to, and hopefully we're learning how to do these things with less guilt, because we deserve to feel well and we deserve to be able to set our own schedules. And the holidays is a really challenging time for that. So boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Another thing we can do is just our physical health habits. For most of us, thank goodness, our bodies are really geared towards self-healing. What does that mean? If we put good in, for a lot of us, good or better, because we don't want to be black and white, is going to come out. So really watching your sleep, really trying to get restful hours at nighttime if you're not a shift worker. Eating a diet, again, I kind of preach about the gut microbiome. If you eat a lot of varied vegetables, especially, the bacteria in your intestines are healthy, and we're finding that helps your brain to be more healthy. So a healthy diet, early morning sunlight, the bright sunlight that's natural, is very healthy. Exercise, in some studies, stands up to antidepressants in terms of symptom relief for anxiety and depression. And so I really push physical exercise. And enjoyment, pleasure, fun, happiness. If there's something that you like to do and it's a good, healthy thing to do, please do it. Allow yourself to be happy.
I like that. I like allowing yourself to be happy. Is it, and one last question I have for you is for a physician that has to go through the holidays and hear this all the time and be faced with people who are struggling and having some of their worst days, does it take a toll on therapists too?
Well, Josh, you asked me an honest question. I'm going to give you an honest answer.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else on earth, mental health professionals, psychiatrists, therapists, counselors, pastors, the list goes on. Part of our job is to be as healthy as we can so that we can continue to serve other people. Absolutely, one has to watch for their own sense of burnout, cynicism, being jaded, being overworked. And it's up to us to know that and to put our hands up as well. And so there are physician resources and employee resources, usually at most organizations that employ healthcare workers, so that the healthcare worker doesn't become a second victim of trauma as well, so that we can stay healthy and continue to help other people.
I love that. Thank you. And thank you for being so candid. I really do appreciate that. Dr. Britany Alexander, psychiatrist in our Riverside service area, doing wonderful work out there. I appreciate your time and wishing you a very healthy and joyful holiday.
The same to you, and I thank you so very much for having me on today.